In this lesson, we're going to take a look at how to use our quotient property to either expand or expand a logarithm where there's a division taking place inside the log, or to write the difference of logarithms as a single log. All right, so you don't need to pause and take notes because you already have these. So let's take a look at the quotient property. How can we expand these logarithms on the left-hand side? Well, the first thing we notice is there's a division happening inside of our logarithm. So we're going to separate out our division by using subtraction, which is the opposite of our product property, where we separate out a product using addition. For our quotient property, we separate out a division using subtraction. And again, I want you to notice that in order to be able to do that, your logs have to have the same base, which of course this one does. So we get the log base 4 of 4 minus the log base 4 of y. And before we can say that we're done, we need to make sure that all of our logs are as simplified as possible. And what you're going to notice here is that this logarithm here can be simplified into a whole number, because if we set this log equal to a variable and we solve, 4 raised to what power is 4? Well, that log equals 1. 4 raised to the first power is 4. So in the most simplistic form that we can write it in, it's going to look like this. So let's go ahead and separate out this logarithm and expand it using our quotient property. Well, for this example, we're going to have the log base 3 of 250, and that's being divided by 37, so we're going to subtract log base 3 of 37. Now we notice here that we have numbers. That's all we have in our logarithm, like up here. And we asked ourselves the question, 4 raised to what power is 4? Well, that's the power of 1. So let's ask ourselves the question here, 3 raised to what power is 250? Well, the number 250 is not a power of 3, so we can't answer that right off the bat unless we had a calculator. So we're just going to leave it the way it is. Now we're going to ask ourselves the question, 3 raised to what power is 37? Well, 37 also is not a power of 3, so we're going to just leave this alone as well, and this ultimately is our answer. So now let's go ahead and take a look at our last problem down here, and we're going to notice that there's a division also being done here, so we're going to expand this logarithm. Log of 1 minus the log of z. And again, remember, if your base is missing, it's the common log. So it has a base 10. So I'll write base 10 here just to remind us. And we have this logarithm here. It only has numbers and it doesn't have any variables. So let's ask ourselves the question, what power do we raise 10 to get the number 1? Or you can say 10 raised to what power is 1? Well, we know that if we raise anything to the 0 power, we get 1. So 10 raised to the 0 power is 1. So our answer for this logarithm is 0. And we cannot simplify our last logarithm because there's a variable here. And there's no other operations being done inside. It's as simple as possible. So 0 minus this logarithm is just negative log, common log of z, or base 10 of z. All right, so how do we use our quotient property to combine our logarithms into one logarithm? Well, let's work left to right. Okay, and in mathematics, we always work left to right. So we notice that we have 2 logs with the same bases being subtracted. We can take this quotient property, 2 logs with the same bases being subtracted, and we can combine it into a single log using division. So we're going to take the log of x and we're going to divide it by y. And now we have 2 of our logs combined together. Now we need to combine our very last one. And let's take a look at how we would combine this last one. So we have a subtraction, 2 logs, same bases, we're subtracting. We can again divide these two, x over y divided by 2. And how do we actually do that? X over y divided by 2. Dividing by 2 is like multiplying by a half. So log of 1/2 times x over y. And what does that equal? That equals the log of x over 2y. Remember, dividing by 2 is like multiplying by a half, so we can divide by 2, convert it into multiplication, so that now we have the most simplistic form of all. And that's how you use your quotient property.